Binge List. I am your host, Paul Chappell, and we are recapping Loki on Disney Plus. This episode was episode 2 of the first season, and it was called The Variant, and it exceeded all my expectations. In case you don't understand what I'm saying here is, I'm totally on board with this show now. I can't think of one thing that was wrong with this episode. It was that good. I mean, the first thing that the episode demonstrated to me was that Loki would never work in a bureaucratic environment. He's too smart. He's too unconventional. Everything that you can't be in a bureaucratic organization like the Time Variance Authority. So I like that they really exposed that early on in the episode because that was an indicator of things to come. Also, it showed that he has a really, really big ego. And also, I like the fact that Owen Wilson on this show, because I think Owen Wilson is exactly the sort of person or actor that you need to check somebody like Tom Hiddleston, because he just has this low-key cool about him. I'm talking about Owen Wilson. And he just, I don't know, he calls Loki on a lot of his BS, and I like that. He picked up on the fact that Loki kept referring to the so-called bad Loki as a lesser Loki, because Loki can't deal with the fact that this Loki is a lot smarter than him. By all accounts, this Loki is smart, because this Loki is hiding from the Time Variance Authority. Somehow they can't figure it out. He keeps killing them. And Loki is interested only because I think, well, one, I think he doesn't want to get deleted from the timeline like they planned, but he also has some kind of plot in his back of his mind where he's going to infiltrate the timekeepers, take their power, because it's already been demonstrated they're so powerful that Infinity Stones don't even mean anything in their dimension. So Loki is always looking for that next power grab, and he sees the timekeepers as that next power grab. If he can somehow kill them and take their power, I think that's what's the wheels that are turning in his head. But also, I just want to point out, we had some confirmation that I think the timekeepers, like in the comic books, are clones, because, you know, I noticed that some of the hunters had names like B-15, C-20, so they have to be clones that have names like that. So I really enjoyed that little plot point, because that's something that's consistent with the comics. Also, I like the fact that Loki's able to figure out how the other Loki, the bad Loki, so-called bad Loki, is hiding from the Time Variance Authority. And spoilers from here on out, he figures out that if you transport to an area of the universe that's about to experience some kind of apocalypse, like I think the original idea came from the fact that he finds out that Asgard has experienced Ragnarok and is no more in the future. So he comes up with this idea that maybe the other Loki is hiding in an area that is about to experience apocalypse, because if everybody dies in apocalypse, if you arrive in that timeline and influence their lives, it's not going to matter, because they're going to be dead anyway. So they test this theory. They go to Mount Vesuvius right before Pompeii is demolished, or, you know, buried under ash. And Loki starts doing all this stuff. And Moby is able to measure whether there's any kind of variant energy or whatever. And he finds out that Loki's right. So they figure out how the other Loki is, you know, hiding from the Time Variance Authority. I love that. There's also this little clue that the other Loki has been leaving, which tells me that this Loki wanted to be found out. But the bubble gum that the Loki left in the first episode that Mobius found is a clue, because they tracked that down, because this bubble gum was only manufactured in like a 3-year period, and they were like, well, let's find an area in the United States where this gun was prevalent, and they also experienced some kind of apocalyptic event. They find a town in Alabama, I guess, it's not sure what kind of apocalyptic thing happened. I think it was a tsunami or something, or some kind of hurricane. I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter. They go to that area, and Loki gets separated from the group, and he starts talking to the other Loki through, because remember, Loki has the power to influence other people, and he can use people through some kind of enchantment. So Loki is speaking to this other Loki through these captives, and figuring out that this Loki has something planned. And we very soon find out what it is. This Loki has been stealing reset bombs that the time hunters use to reset a timeline. So this Loki has a bunch of them and lets them explode all at the same time, creating all these nexuses from the sacred timeline at the same time. Mobius picks up on what's happening, and he finds Loki, and Loki walks through a portal that the other Loki has opened up, because it looks like he's going to join forces with this other Loki. And not only that, the other Loki has been revealed to be a female Loki. And we know that Loki can change his appearance. And that's consistent with what we know from the comic books. He has appeared as a woman in several comic books. He's also appeared as a kid. They call him Kid Loki. So I love the fact that they did this, because this means we won't have a bunch of CGI scenes. I mean, I'm sure they'll do it at some point where they have Tom Hiddleston talking to himself. I hate when they do that on most shows, but you could tell it's so fake most of the time. They have a stand-in and over-shoulder shots, and it's just really hacky usually when they do stuff like that in these television shows, because they usually don't have the budget to do it right. But the fact that they made the other Loki a distinctly different person and a female was very encouraging me, because remember, I was really disappointed in the last episode when it was revealed that the villain was going to be just another Loki. But this put it on another level. It kind of, squashed some of the misgivings I had about that choice. So I love that. I love everything about this episode. The fact that he stepped through that portal, that Loki stepped through that portal, and looks like he's joining forces with this other Loki. It looks like he might actually be a villain in this series, a proper villain. And maybe Owen Wilson is going to be really the hero. So I'm very encouraged by everything, because this is a turn of events that you don't see a lot in conventional television. So, yeah. It's easy to say, or I'm happy to say, that I was wrong and that I'm fully on board. I definitely suggest that you put this in your binge list, because it was that good. Also, I just want to point out that I'm very, very interested in seeing what the timekeepers look like, because we know they're aliens in the comic books. They just tease something about, there was a conversation that Mobius is having with one of the judges about them, and it's building my anticipation. So I hope we get to see them very soon. But there's so many things I like about how they do. In fact, I even like how Disney is releasing these shows on Wednesday. It gives me so much more time to get something up by Friday, which is when a lot of if you know anything about YouTube, most people watch stuff on the weekends, obviously, because they're working. So the fact that they're releasing the show on Wednesday just gives me a whole lot more time to digest the show and decide whether I like it or not. And I can really look at all the details. So I like that they're doing that. I like that they're shaking up the streaming service arena a little bit and giving Netflix a run for their money. Because everything they do, Netflix is going to respond. But that's all I pretty much got for today. I would like to thank my subscribers. Encourage you, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Give me a comment down below. Do you disagree with my assessment of this episode? Let me know down in the comments below. And hit that or ring that bell if you haven't already, if you're a subscriber, so you know when my next video drops. And I will see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.